Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you something that highlights how absurd it is that Democrats are ready to engage in contempt and impeachment. Contempt of William Barr in the House and impeachment of President Trump. They're beginning the inquiries because they just can't put their feet completely in the water, but they really want to. And so their impeachment inquiries are going to start this week. A contempt vote for William Barr is going to take place this week. They have nothing. They are complete and utter actors and actresses at this point. But let's just read this. U.S. economy grows by 3.2% in the first quarter, topping expectations. This is published April 26th, 2019. First quarter gross domestic product expanded by 3.2%. Okay, it was economists polled by Dow Jones expected the U.S. economy to increase only by 2.5%. This is a CNBC article. Fred Imbert. Gross domestic product for the first quarter was the best start to a year since 2015. The U.S. economy grew at a faster pace than expected in the first quarter and posted its best growth to start a year in 4 years. Mind you, when President Obama's economy was marred with an increase one quarter and then a decrease the next quarter. An increase one quarter and then a decrease in GDP the next quarter. That's why he ended with 1.6% GDP in 2016. The average GDP he had was 1.6%. But Trump, across the board, has strong, every quarter he's been in office for the past 3 years, there have been strong GDP numbers. The average far surpasses President Obama's. First quarter gross domestic product expanded by 3.2%. Economists polled only expected 2.5%. Quote, the upside beat was helped by net trade. Exports jumped while imports contracted sharply. Oh my God, the tariffs! And inventories, which combined contributed almost 107. Okay, so exports rose 3.7% in the first quarter, while imports decreased 3.7%. Okay, so that is the backdrop. We have a first quarter. We have 2 years of economic growth. 3 years of economic growth. It's still continuing. They said it was gonna subside. People were talking about a recession. People were talking about a lackluster 2019. And this comes under the backdrop here. The context is they want Trump out of office. They're ready to, William Barr misrepresented the Mueller report. Why? Because he actually stated, hey, look, this is written by partisan Democratic Party attorneys. 5 or 6 of whom gave $50,000 to President Obama. Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Moo Clinton, who's running again in 2020. She'll lose again in 2020, but she's running again. And the Democratic National Committee. They gave a total of $50,000. Peter Strzok, who said, we'll stop Trump, was on the team. So was Lisa Page. And then when people say, well, the Mueller report doesn't say, the Mueller report is not rooted in fact. It's just a cloud of suspicion. So William Barr misrepresented the Mueller report. Yeah, the whole thing was rooted in suspicion. They reluctantly stated there's no evidence. There's absolutely no evidence to charge for anything to do with collusion or campaign finance violations regarding the DNC emails or anything else. The evidence was not sufficient. Says that 4 times in one very key paragraph in page 17. Of the report. The evidence was not sufficient to charge any member of the Trump campaign for to interfere in the election alongside Russia in 2016. But let's just this is CNBC. This is CNBC. Wages and salaries jumped by 3.1%, highest level in a decade. This was actually October 2018. Wages and salaries rose 3.1%, the biggest increase in a decade. Okay, CNBC. So it's like wages are up. Why wages are finally rising 10 years after the recession. Of course, this is a New York Times article, May 2nd, 2019. Wages are rising, ladies and gentlemen. But you can't give Trump credit. Oh, don't you know this is a cyclical, macroeconomic thing? You can't give Trump credit even though Paul Krugman said there would be a global recession. Why wages are finally rising 10 years after the recession. New York Times, May 2nd, 2019. Wages and salaries jumped by 3.1%, highest level in a decade, October 31st, 2018. So, then you hear 2020 Democrats embrace $15 minimum wage. Well, why don't they vote for it in the House? These people, no disrespect to progressive voters, but they control the House of Representatives. They're only focused on a contempt vote for William Barr, who actually described the Mueller report completely accurately, 100% accurately. And this is May 3rd, 2019. 263,000 new jobs added in April, more than expected. Wages up 3.2% from a year ago. Chuck DeVore. This is Forbes. May 3rd, 2019. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released its April employment report this morning, showing continued robust growth in the economy. In the job market, with 263,000 jobs added in April, the official unemployment rate is now 3.6%, the lowest it's been since 1969. Notably, wages were up 3.2% from a year ago, with inflation remaining tame. Real buying power is up. But you have to start impeaching Trump, don't you know? He committed crime, says Beto O'Rourke. The guy probably ate too much soil. They have to make everything morally relative. This is all about Clinton. I keep telling everyone. It's all about Clinton. She's running again. The golden muumuu is going to levitate again above the DNC headquarters. And throngs of liberals and progressives will be like, oh. Madam Cyberhack 2020, it's a reality. It's going to take place. She told, look, that nonsense you heard when that day, in March, she's not running anymore. She's not running. She said she wasn't. Well, first of all, why would you trust anything the golden muumuu says, ever? This is a person who said she survived Bosnian sniper fire. But less than 24 hours after, probably 10 hours after, Maggie Haberman of the New York Times stated, spoke to somebody close to Clinton. She said she wasn't trying to close the door on 2020. This is what Maggie Haberman said. Okay? This journalist was in the DNC email, or the campaign emails. Has a close relationship with the Clinton campaign. Why do you think she gave that little tidbit of information? Well, she doesn't want to close the door. She was just comparing herself to John Kerry and Michael Dukakis. And how come the men aren't asked not to run? Because people aren't petrified of them, that's why. The mere thought of the golden muumuu running again is enough to, get people. You talk about Trump derangement syndrome. It's true. That's more an example of people don't like his personality, and they just feel they have to deal with his personality. They can't stand his personality. The economy is great. They don't really have anything tangible to say about Trump. Oh, he represents this. Everything's a stretch with Trump. It's nothing like tangible. He has done this and this is horrible. No, I mean, he's presided over, he met with Kim Jong-un, the beginning of peace between North and South Korea. Oh, well, they say, oh, it's not really peace. He's the great economy, First Step Act. He's a good president. But to people who don't like Trump, he represents things. He's a horrible person. With Clinton, like, you have a litany of real failed policies where people have Madam Cyberhack and President Obama actually presided over the destruction of an actual country. Like, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. If Trump acted in the same way Obama and Clinton did, I mean, President Obama drank a glass of water from Flint. Okay? If Trump did that, it would be supremacy, enabling. Oh my God. This correlation, that correlation, this means this means that. Obama deliberately deceived and said the water was okay in Flint. If Trump did that, my God, he'd be impeached just for that. The double standard is unbelievable. Justin Fairfax, Keith Ellison, oh my God. Something happened far away, far away, in a galaxy far away in the 80s. We have no time, no location, no witnesses, but don't believe the accusers of Keith Ellison and Justin Fairfax because they're Democrats. Ralph Northam, no problem. We can go on forever. Jimmy Kimmel has a very... Jimmy Kimmel is still on... It's on YouTube. You can still see. Jimmy Kimmel has... Not only does he perform completely... in this horrible shtick where he pretends that he's Karl Malone, but it's like completely in blackface, and it's by today's what was it, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but he gets a completely free pass. I mean, it's actually by today's standards, it would be completely racist what Jimmy Kimmel did. But it's okay now. Democrats only view what conservatives do, and they utilize outrage as a tool. They don't really care. If you're worried about, if you're so against Steven Crowder, then why aren't you against Jimmy Kimmel? Just the other day, Hillary Clinton stated that all black people look alike. That's what Hillary Clinton said to Kara Swisher, or Kara, yeah. That was during the speech, during the interview where she's like, I'd like to be president, where she literally says, yeah, I'm going to run, pretty much running. And then they twisted it. Some articles twisted it into, well, she scolded the host for confusing Eric Holder and President Obama. No, it was an actual joke that Clinton got away with. Now, if you're going to go ahead and make jokes, that's a different story. If you're going to allow jokes, if you're going to allow Jimmy Kimmel to dress up, pretend he's Karl Malone and speak in this manner that Karl Malone doesn't even speak, but to do it in like this disparaging, comedic manner. If you're going to allow Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Moo to say, oh yeah, they all look alike. And then even the audience was like, oh, like they couldn't believe it. But it's okay. If you're going to not be outraged over Justin Fairfax and Keith Ellison. And Trevor Noah has done the same thing. Pretending, oh, we can go back in time. People go back in time all the time on the left. Hillary Clinton, if you could believe this, referred to Mahatma Gandhi as a gas station attendant. So, that's Clinton. But it's okay on the left. So when you hear this, when you see this, this campaign against Crowder, know exactly what it's all about. It's all about a double standard that needs to be upheld. This fake outrage, there's no outrage when it's Jimmy Kimmel, when it's Clinton, when it's on a different topic, Justin Fairfax or Keith Ellison. But if you're a conservative, if you're a Trump supporter, you better watch out. Because then it's all about, identity and background and, oh my God, we're going to fight this. And what about the things, look, we can go on forever. we can go on forever, but the double standard, the hypocrisy is unbelievable. And it's only going to lead to another election loss. What they don't get is that they can try to silence voices, they can try to censor voices, they can try to marginalize people on the left and people on the right and conservatives and Trump supporters and independents. They can try to bully people, but nobody cares what they think. That's the problem. That's the problem. Generally, if you're ostracized or if you're insulted or if you're demeaned, it hurts when you respect the person that's talking badly about you. It doesn't hurt too much, or it doesn't hurt at all when you have zero respect for the person. That's what like milkshake everyone, milk, all this stuff. It's like they don't. The mind of an independent and a Trump supporter actually is far more. Okay, liberals and progressives, if you're called a Trump supporter there, if you're called like not part of the cool crowd, then they, as I used to feel this way too for a split second, I'm like, oh my God, like they're gonna claim I'm this or that. Once I left that world, I'm like, I don't care what you think of me. I'm just gonna go straight and narrow, speak my mind. I don't care what you think of me. But the left is like, we're going to impeach Trump. Go ahead and do it. He doesn't care. We're going to hold Barr in contempt. We'll do it already. We're waiting. We're waiting. Do it. What are you waiting for? They have the media who backs them up. Still fomenting. So there was no collusion. We know that. There is no obstruction. They didn't. Robert Mueller could have simply said, yeah, he committed crimes in terms of obstruction. There was no obstruction. If anything, it's an unlawful probe. And I explained in my segment prior to this one, the Steele dossier completely undermined by the Mueller report. Steele dossier says, yeah, in concert with Putin and Russian operatives. Nothing was in concert. The whole thing was, there was no evidence of anything. But it's not going to, Clinton's going to run again. They're not going to go with Biden. And when she runs, she loses again in 2020. And then you're going to have a paradigm shift. Because I already saw a Gillette commercial. It's like completely different from the other wacky commercial. Something like, I don't know, that other commercial, the one with like, it had something against barbecues. I mean, when you're camping on barbecues, you got a problem. What's wrong with a barbecue? Everyone loves barbecues. When the left goes after barbecues, they've completely lost it. Completely lost it. That's like the best thing in life is to go to a barbecue and enjoy yourself with friends, family, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Who knows what crazy world they're in. It ain't going to end well politically. It ain't going to end well politically because they have nothing. I started this segment off with great, fantastic, not since in the past decade, not since 2015. I mean, all of these records, not since 1969. Unemployment, lowest point since 1969. Wages are up. GDP is up. They're nitpicking. You can have a difference of opinion with tariffs, fine, but they're a short-term. They're a short-term strategy. My God, other presidents have engaged in tariffs too. They didn't. These histrionics. Bush also engaged in other presidents have also engaged in tariffs. Actually, it didn't work out for them as well as it's working out for Trump. You could say, hey, look, you know what, here and there, there's a critique of Trump. Fine. A critique is good. Critique Trump. But don't say he's, destroying the planet when everything we see is the opposite of what the hysteria says. The problem is they have to cling to hyperbole. The left has to cling to hyperbole because they don't have a case. And then they have to ignore hypocrisy and call it whataboutism. Yeah, what about? When you're debating a liberal or progressive, always say, what about? You have to. Because they come at you from the vantage point of moral superiority, and they just completely omit what undermines their own case. If you are saying, oh, I'm this fantastic vegan, and then everyone sees you with the cheeseburger every day, you ain't a vegan. If I'm a vegan, I'm a wonderful vegan, and I have like this big rack of ribs and a giant gallon of milk and a whole carton of eggs, and then someone says to me, but you're not really a vegan. Because what about what you're eating? Oh, whataboutism, huh? Ha 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 ha! Whataboutism. It's called whataboutism. So, well, no, but you said you're a vegan and you have a whole rack of lamb and ribs and meat and milk and eggs. That's not what vegans eat. Whataboutism? Just focus on what I tell you to focus on. Okay? I'm morally superior to you. But you're acting in a manner completely antithetical and contrary to what you espouse. Doesn't matter. I can still judge you. I'm 19 years old. I'm 25 years old. I'm part of a Facebook group, and I'll have a whole bunch of Twitter friends, and we patrol the internet demeaning leftists like us, making sure they're in line. Have you ever wondered also if any of these morally upright, virtuous imbeciles, do they understand what the meaning of forgiveness, compassion, redemption? Do they ever imagine a time where like a tiki torch person could actually realize the error of his ways? Is that even possible? In their minds, like, we're going to make them so uncomfortable, man. It's like, nobody cares. The people who you're talking to view you to be like the biggest fools on the planet. And I'm not just the people who are filled with hate, just normal everyday Americans who are not filled with hate, who are just happen to be independent or Trump supporters or even on the left. The left wields power in the worst manner possible. We're going to ostracize and we're going to make people learn their lesson. It's like nobody cares about you're not influencing anyone except you're actually promoting the division. So when Don Lemon says, "Oh, I have to leave now," CNN, this is really making me it's like no, you fomented division. The people who foment division call Trump every name in the book, don't give him a chance, don't treat him presidential, and then when he doesn't act presidential, they're like, he's not presidential. Well, you didn't treat him like a president. You're insulting him all the time, and you know when you insult him, he acts in a certain manner. So it's like, anyway, give me your thoughts below. This is not, look, I tried to kind of give you a different take from the usual. We know the Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton. I bring that up every single day. We know that CrowdStrike was outsourced by Democrats. We know all of these things. We know the contempt vote from William Barr is absurd. We know that Jerry Nadler is just alongside Adam Schiff, alongside Pelosi, alongside all of them. We know that all they're doing is kind of just waiting for the churning, reliving failed propaganda tactics and repackaging them. Oh, well, it's collusion for 2 years. Oh, now there's obstruction of justice. Now there's not even, it's just he committed crimes. And people believe it because they don't like Trump. Whereas you and you're watching this and I'm talking to you and we pretty much think the same way in terms of a lot of, definitely in terms of, the whole nonsense regarding them framing and setting up Trump. There are millions of people who will believe anything because they're completely their brains have melted and morphed into an MSNBC and CNN segment. There's still a certain amount of credibility, unfortunately, to CNN and MSNBC, and there's still people say, well, it's on TV. these really smart people are saying all the same things. Oh, he did commit. Then they get an attorney. They get another attorney. Well, like, look what happened to Avenatti. But see, they get, this is the legal expert at the cable station. Oh, Trump. Oh, really? Trump did something? He committed crimes? Oh my God, I knew it. Oh, so the Mueller report is actually great. The Mueller report was a complete failure. It was an utter debacle. It was a failure not seen since Madam Cyberhack lost the election, which she's running again in 2020. So it doesn't matter, She'll lose again, but what we go through as a country, that's a different story. But the Mueller report was a complete failure. Complete failure. They turned it into a win for them. Their side is completely just, the brains are warped. There's no critical thinking because they just don't like Trump. They'll believe anything. They'll believe absolutely anything because they hate Trump. They can't stand him. They can't stand. They want to impeach Trump. They want to anybody close to Trump. William Barr, contempt. Why didn't they hold contempt for Sessions? Oh, that's right, because Sessions was basically an extension of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Gee, I wonder why people still believe in that LMNOP thing. Oh well. When you want to believe something, and it goes for the right and the left, when you want to believe something, you'll allow anything. You will allow anything. How come Trump? They turn into Harry Carey. How did he tweet the same time as LMNOP said he would tweet? Because they had software. There is a way to find out what someone's going to tweet a split second before he tweets it or she tweets it. It's not difficult. Anyway. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so much. Check out my segments later today as well. This is an important segment because it starts off with reality and then gets into the liberal fantasy world, which it kind of highlights the absurdity of impeaching and holding William Barr in contempt when the country is functioning not just well. I mean, we're prospering as a country, and yet, if you talk to people on the left, it's like the sky is falling. And that's all to pave the way for Clinton, who is running again in 2020. My Patreon is below if you want to support my voice long term. Your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. Check out Rush Limbaugh and what he says about my latest article in The Federalist. That's below in the pinned comment. Thank you very much, everyone.